Hi lovely friends, it's Margaret, and we're talking about Vault-a-thon again. We have reached that stage where we're close enough to Vault-a-thon that it is time for me to tell you what I will be reading for this readathon, and also recommend you some books in case you are still trying to figure out what you should be reading. I just have some suggestions for those last minute decisions that most of us make when we're sliding something in. Before I go in and recommend you all of these books, I just want to give you guys a gentle reminder that the group book Saving Lucas Biggs by Marisa de los Santos and David Teague fits all of the book related prompts. You can read one book and succeed at all of the book related prompts. Despite how I am as a person, this readathon is in fact meant to be chill and low-key and not do a lot of stressing of the people participating in it. Those are fun readathons when you're stressed and trying to read 7 books in 7 days. But sometimes you just need a chill readathon. So it's hey, do the least amount of reading that you have to do. Don't be like me. Don't try and do a book for every prompt, because then you're stressing about that, and you're stressing about running the readathon, and one of these days maybe I'll learn, and one of these days maybe I won't. If you have never heard of Vault-a-thon before, I will have the announcement from round 5 linked up top. So the bare minimum facts that you need to know about the readathon to continue on with this video are that the group book is Saving Lucas Biggs, the movie is Meet the Robinsons, the readathon runs from September 21st to September 27th. We will have a group movie night on the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can participate by tweeting along with the movie with the hashtag MTR Vault-along. I just made that up in my head because I hadn't done it before. Now that's how we run things here. Also, there will be a live show discussing both the book and the movie on the 27th. The time will be announced on our Twitter once I have coordinated with our co-hosts for this round. Speaking of whom, all of them are going to be familiar faces, people that you have seen before. We are going to have Christine from The Other Christine That Reads joining us yet again. We are also going to be welcoming back Brianna from Coffee, Books, and Bullet Journals, and Bree from Bree Bear McKay. All right, all of the housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about some books. So like I said, I have a book for every prompt that is book related, because that's who I am as a person. Also, you might notice that some of these hit multiple prompts, because that's also smart. You always should have a backup plan, so you can be like, hey, this book is gonna fit 3 different prompts. So the first prompt is Meet the Robinsons, which is to read a book about a family that is special in some way. I will be reading Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. You've seen this on multiple TBRs. You're probably tired of seeing it. You're probably going, Margaret, would you read the dang book already? Well, this book is about a special family who is connected to this Winterwood. Not entirely sure whether it's by magic, whether it's just they've been there for forever. I'm not sure. They're special though. And then something happens one night, and the main character, whose name I don't remember because it's been so long since I read the blurb, she finds a boy in the woods, and he's unconscious, and he has amnesia, and maybe she knows him, maybe she doesn't, I can't quite remember that detail either, but she finds him on the same night that something else goes down. I think it's a murder, or maybe someone disappears. I'm not entirely sure, but she starts to doubt whether or not he is telling the truth about the amnesia, or whether he's the love interest. I'm pretty sure he is telling the truth because he's the love interest, I think. But I could be wrong. There could be another boy that is not mentioned in the blurb because he's not important to the very beginning part of the plot. The first recommendation that I want to bring to y'all is Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri. This is about Mare. Her family is special because of her mother, who has magic in her blood. She's able to communicate with the gods through dance. She's learned some of it from other people who are part of the tribe her mother comes from, but she doesn't know a lot of it because that magic is kind of looked down on in the society that she lives in. She ends up in this forced marriage situation because they find out that she has magic, and there are people who specifically want her because she has this magic. They need her, and so they force her into this marriage by threatening her family and all of this not good stuff, you know. But despite that, it still ended up being one of my favorite romances. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. The unresolved sexual tension was just chef's kiss. The other recommendation I want to give you is a throwback to the first round of Vault-a-thon, and that is Renegades by Marisa Meyer. This is about kids with superpowers, and it's in a futuristic world, a dystopian type world. Basically, you don't really need to know about that stuff because it's about a very special family. Or one of the main characters comes from a very special family, and I love him. His name is Adrian. He is the best. No one should ever hurt him ever. It is really fun. If you are a fan of Marvel and DC and you like seeing Easter eggs of superhero stuff, this is going to be a really good book for you. It was so much fun as a comic book reader to sit there and be like, I can kind of see the parallels between some of the normal superheroes or typical superheroes that we know from the big franchises, but with a little bit of a twist. The second book-related prompt is The Future Has Arrived, and that is to read a book where someone travels to the past. For that one, I will be reading the group book, Saving Lucas Biggs. This is about Margaret. I am not going to stop talking about how weird that is, because I feel like I have to acknowledge that. Like, this is not a normal occurrence at all. I didn't choose it because her name was Margaret, I promise. Her father gets sentenced to death, and because the judge is very cynical and corrupt, Margaret's best plan seems to be traveling to the past, which is something that her family can do. She's not supposed to, but they can do it. But she thinks that that's the best option, to go back and make this guy be a better person, like change his childhood so that he's less mean, or whatever it is the issue with him. I have a couple of recommendations for this. We are fudging some lines because I realized I haven't read a lot of books that involve time travel and going to the past. So I don't have a lot of books I can recommend, but the first one I want to recommend is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I don't remember the main character's name. What's her name? Oh yeah, Shane. It's about Shane, and she goes and travels to England. And that's not why she travels to the past. But she goes to England on a study abroad program, and she meets this guy there, and she's trying to have like the best semester ever because she's not really happy with what she's doing in school, and she has plans for her life, but her parents have different plans for her life, and so it's about this struggle that she has and a lot of the regrets that she ends up having in trying to figure out how to live, like, should she live her life the way she wants to, or is she going to live her life the way her parents think she should live it. The other book that I want to recommend, which actually has genuine, bona fide, multiple instances of traveling to the past, is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This is about a girl who ends up traveling back to like revolutionary times accidentally because she is able to do it. She's part of this family that is able to travel through time, and someone comes to get her, and she ends up on this whole whirlwind tour going through various different parts of history, trying to get away from the people that are hunting her, and then trying to fulfill what they need her to do so she can get back to where she belongs. It's a big mess, and yet it is worth it. Also, the ending will have you shooketh. I did not, like, the ending had me panicking a little bit until I went and read the blurb for the second book. Prompt number 3 is Captain Time Travel, and that is to read a book where the main character has to team up with a friend. I will be reading A Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. This is about Lucely, and she accidentally brings back some ghosts. It's not good. I think there's Halloween involved and the full moon, and like, that just, you know, sounds like a bad combination. Bad things are happening. Chaos is coming. In order to get these ghosts, these spirits back, she has to team up with her best friend Sid and Sid's grandmother, Babette. So not only is she teaming up with one person, she's teaming up with 2 persons and a cat, Chunk. I'm not entirely sure whether the cat is Lucely's cat or Sid's cat, but it's someone's cat. So the first recommendation that I have for this one is A Song of Blood and Stone by Elle Penelope. This is a fun, fantasy, almost steampunky romance. I enjoyed it so much. Like, it was just the perfect palate cleanse after reading a book that had highly disappointed me in the romance department, and then this one was like, hi, here you go. It's gonna be a little corny, but there you go. This is about Jacinda and Jack, and they are sort of on opposite sides of a conflict. Jack is a spy, and he ends up getting dragged to her farm by these enemy soldiers, and so then they have to end up teaming up to escape the enemy soldiers and then get Jack back where he needs to be with the information that he has gathered about this magical thing in their country that is, the things are about to go wrong, and he knows maybe sort of how to fix it. Maybe. The second book that I want to recommend is A Flame in the Mist by Renee Adia. This is about Mariko. It's kind of a Mulan retelling. Like, if you've watched Mulan, you're going to notice similarities. You're also going to notice like some throwbacks, like just little Easter egg like nods to the Disney movie, but it is very much not actually Mulan. It is, however, about a girl who disguises herself to protect herself and seek revenge on the people who tried to assassinate her. The fourth and final book-related prompt is MiniDoris, and that is to read a book that is under 300 pages. Like I said, we try to make things easy for y'all. I am going to be reading A Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. This is one of the last books that I need to read for my Best Friends Choose My TBR video. I just have not been good about finishing these books. I would like to. I'm not entirely sure what it's about, except that it's based around the famous Vermeer painting with the girl on the cover in the painting as the main character. My stupid thrift store likes to write on things with crayon, and so I'm not happy about that because she doesn't have the $1.49 on her face in the real painting, but it's a pretty beat up book anyway, so if I end up liking it, we'll just get a new one. Probably. Maybe. I'm gonna probably like on the shelf. Who cares? The first recommendation I have is another past Vault-a-thon book, and that is I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day. This is about Edie, and Edie is Native American. She doesn't know what tribe she comes from because her mother was adopted as a child, so she's not entirely sure what the background is, but she does know that she is Native American. She doesn't think that there's any tie to her family, that there's any way to find out, until she's digging around in the attic with her friends one day, and she discovers this box of letters and photos, and the woman in the photos looks a lot like Edie. This is about Edie trying to figure out her identity and also trying to figure out, can I trust my parents? Have they actually told me the truth about this kind of huge thing in my life? It is so sweet and good, also sad, but like, she is such a well fleshed out character. You need to read this book. It's amazing. The second recommendation that I have for you is The Two Princesses of Balam by Gail Carson Levine. This one you probably haven't heard of as much as you've heard of like Ella Enchanted, but I love this book. It's like this, I don't know if there's a fairy tale that it's based off of. It feels like a fairy tale that Gail Carson Levine just kind of made up, because there are just so many different hallmarks of fairy tales in this book. I adore it. It is so good. I need to reread it. It is just as good as Ella Enchanted, and kind of maybe a little bit more fun because you're not continually frustrated that this girl has no choice in her actions. It's about two sisters. One of them is a lot more outgoing and full of gumption and all of that, and then the main character is a lot quieter, and she doesn't really like confronting people or being adventurous or doing any of those things, and then her sister gets sick. And it's up to the main character, whose name I can't remember and is not written on the back of this book. I probably could find it. Let's see, what's her first name? Ah, her name is Addie. Who knows of a princess named Addie? Anyways, Addie has to basically rescue her sister. She has to travel across the country, do all this other stuff because her sister is dying, and she may be the only one that's able to find the cure for this plague that has been plaguing their country for decades. So those are the books that I am reading and the books I am recommending for round 5 of Vault-a-thon. Let me know down in the comments, are you going to be participating this time around? Have you read any of these books? Just talk to me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, there will be other videos over here that you might want to check out. Just, see what they're about. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!